Hello, welcome to Scary Thoughts, Horror, Philosophy, Culture. I'm Mark Cate.
And I'm Chad Lott.
This is episode 130. We're going to be talking about Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, the Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett movie from 2026. You can email us at whathathe, WHATTHE, at scarythoughts.org. And anything to plug?
Nope.
I have one thing to plug. My band, My Heart in Inverted Flame, just released our second full-length finally after like 3-4 years since our first full-length album. We've released a lot of music since then, but not like a proper full-length. And our second full-length album, My Death is More Beautiful Than Your Life, just came out on Crucial Blast. So it's out on Bandcamp. There'll be cassette CDs, hopefully vinyl later this year. If synth doom means anything to you, you might like it. Check it out. And that's it.
Nice.
Are we sticking into it?
Yeah.
Spoilers ahead. Here we go. Okay, did you just watch this for the first time like last night?
Yes, I did.
Did you rewatch the first one?
I did not.
How long ago did you see the first one?
Whenever we talked about it last.
Did we do an episode about the first one?
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
Yeah, I think we just watched it. But I was curious why you were like, hey, let's do an episode about this, because it wasn't like there hasn't been some like notable horror movies that were probably more discussable.
Yeah, totally. I think that was it, is that we hadn't done an episode in a while. I think we're trying to avoid doing any more Alien franchise movies, but we should maybe dig back into our promise to do everything in the Alien franchise.
At least Alien 4.
Yeah, true. And I really liked this movie. I really enjoyed it, even though it's maybe not a proper horror movie, but I enjoyed it more than a lot of other horror adjacent films that have come out in the last year-ish.
Yeah, if you have A24 fatigue, I could see this being like kind of a fun movie, but I thought it was not of the same caliber as the first one. I thought the first one was like pretty fun. And I thought this one was like effectively like John Wick 2. It's like, okay, if there was one family, now there's going to be 5 families.
Yeah.
And if there's one final girl, now there's going to be 2 final girls. Like it's like basically the formula from Alien and Aliens.
Yes.
Just, like just more of the thing. Yeah. I thought that the families, like this movie, if it had more like legitimately good action fighting, I think it would have been a much better movie.
I agree. I think some of the gags were quite good. They could have been maybe maximized. Like, for example, the pepper spray, post-pepper spray fist fight, where they've both been hit in the eyes with pepper spray and they're just swinging wildly, facing different directions in the middle of the room. I thought it was brilliant. I don't think I've seen anything like that before. But it also wasn't shot that well. It could have been so much funnier. It could have been so much more. I think also maybe I was a little irritated because of the total eclipse of the heart. The needle drop.
Yeah, you got to have it.
I'm really exhausted by it. Also the closing music, the cover, the maudlin cover of a song we all know. That old yarn.
Yeah.
Fatiguing. But the bazooka that fires in the wrong direction, the head of the family who has a sniper rifle and can't hit shit. Like there's a lot of pretty good running violence gags.
All of that made me think I just wanted like a cartel version of Ready or Not 1.
Oh God. I wonder if there is one, but like, why would we know? Like, a lower budget didn't make it to America.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Although I guess maybe if you live in Mexico, you don't go around making comedies about the cartel.
One of my favorite horror movies was a Mexican movie. I saw it was Satanic Hispanics, which is out on Spring. That movie is so fun.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
Also, I'll just be honest, the exploding splatter, like when Satan explodes your body, I didn't get tired of that.
I thought it was super lame.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, for a couple of reasons. One, I thought it was like just CGI nonsense. So I was a little bummed. It was like,
it wasn't.
Wasn't? Well, their splatter on them is practical effects.
They
but
used a lot of fake blood in this movie. A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on them it looks good, but like I felt like, okay, so the devil is in this, right?
Yeah.
And we know that the devil is tricky and poetic. I feel like the deaths should have been more like Final Destination-y. Like, like the devil would kill them in different interesting ways.
Instead of just exploding them?
Yeah, instead of just exploding. It felt quite lazy.
I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was fun and visceral.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know. There's something very Suicide Squad about it to me.
What do you mean?
But, like the movie Suicide Squad, they have like bombs in their head that the bad guy agency can blow up the bad guy
I didn't remember
superheroes with.
Yeah.
In the first 5 minutes of this movie, I thought it was going to be great because you have like Sarah Michelle Gellar, David Cronenberg.
Yep.
I was like, oh my God, David Cronenberg's in this. This is going to be great because I think
not for long.
His villain in Nightbreed is like one of my favorite.
Yeah.
And then I also really like that Cronenberg has that thing like David Lynch, like, or Tarantino, that they're just them in the scene, even if they're like doing a really good job, which he is in this. And then when they killed him, I was just so disappointed. I was like, oh, probably the coolest element of this movie you've just gotten rid of, like immediately, and kind of for no reason. And I think that—
What do you mean for no reason?
Okay, this is theological sort of, but like, okay, throughout history, when you die and you've made a deal with the devil, you go to hell. So like most people who have made that deal try to stay alive for as long as possible. So why wouldn't that guy have just like wheelchaired himself around trying to prolong I think that would have been like a lot more interesting.
I think we could sort of look into the mythology of the movies and think about how the families are obsessed with their legacy. I mean, that was part of the hunt of Ready or Not. And then this movie was very concerned with rules. Most of the plot is defined by the bylaws that Elijah Wood outlines and reads, and then they find, I had a lawyer look at it and I found a loophole, that whole thing. A lot of the movie is sort of procedure. No, I'm misusing the word procedural. What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah.
Legalistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all like, they're all litigating their ways around the rules. And so Cronenberg's murder or sacrifice is in service of the litigating of the rules, like him affirming, I can't fight, so the legacy of this family requires that you murder me so that the two of you can go fight.
I mean, maybe, but like looming over this to me was Succession.
Mm-hmm.
Like in that old coot.
Yeah. Like he wouldn't let go for anybody.
He wouldn't let go for anybody, And I think also like, the opening scene where he's like, he's watching the news and he makes the call on the phone and the news immediately changes.
Yes. Ceasefire.
It's very Succession, and I feel like that.
Although, sorry, as an aside, of course, they do the thing where like there's some war somewhere. There are all these news screens, but none of them actually have a location. They're just like battle casualties. They do that thing. Sort of like what Top Gun 2.
Yeah.
Like, there's this made up enemy that doesn't exist. Anyway, ceasefire where? What?
Gotta sell this film in China.
That's pretty much it. And not be accused of Islamophobia or yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like a Cronenberg heavier version of this would have been a lot better.
That'd have been fun. But, thank you for your service, David.
Yeah. Elijah Wood, great.
Always.
In this, he seems to be awesome.
Totally value added.
Yeah, we were talking about this before dinner, like him and Harry Potter, like they're, cashing out of these gigantic beloved franchises to just go do weird shit is phenomenal and exactly what I would want to do.
Totally. I don't know what it's like to live a life where people want to hand you money to continue doing the thing that you've already done for the rest of your life, whether that's being essentially a cover band of the punk band you started when you were 18 and then you're stuck at 18 years old for the next 50 years. But I do, of course, love when people take hard right turns because, it's so odd. A lot of times I hear a lot of rhetoric that people give out about when Hollywood stars make boring choices that like they didn't have a choice. And I don't know how it works. I'm not one of them. I don't have an agent. But as soon as you've cleared like $25 million in your coffers, I feel like you can do whatever the fuck you want. Period.
Yeah.
Include set fire to your legacy.
I mean, like Crispin Glover, you know what I mean? He essentially funded like 15 years of vintage taxidermy purchasing and weird films with his villain run in Charlie's Angels.
Yeah.
And his lawsuit against Back to the Future,
oh
too.
My God.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you very familiar with Scott Walker, the musician?
Yes.
Scott Walker? I think about him all the time. And I don't know how many of our listeners, I feel like the type of people who would listen to Scary Thoughts would know who he is. But for those of you who don't, Scott Walker was this like crooner heartthrob in Britain in the 60s. And his music he sort of like discovered Jacques Brel. And then so he kind of started getting more continental and weird and beatnik in his sensibilities. And it kept evolving to the point where he did a collaborative album with Sun a couple of years before he died. His music became some of the most like obtuse, minimalist, like Penderecki and Ligeti inspired noisescapes. And so if you can imagine, like, I don't know, Johnny Mathis meets David Bowie's first album, and then that guy fast forward 40 years and he's like having people set up microphones around a slab of hanging meat so they can so that they can document what it sounds like to punch it. You know, that is far more interesting to me than being in a cover band of what you did when you were a teenager.
Yeah.
Although it's easy for me to say, I don't have any skin in the game.
Yeah, although like I think I totally agree with all that, but there's also something to be said for like for example, Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray. You know, they asked him like, where do you play these days? He's like, well, if you could smell funnel cake in the air, that's, and then, like Weird Al famously talked about being on that same circuit, and then Weird Al's had like a complete resurgence. Like people are like, and then
I'm so stoked for him.
Yeah. And then even recently there was like a whole story about, I guess somebody filmed Mark McGrath performing on a cruise or some shit like that. And, they were trying to like be like, oh, look at this fucking guy. But the truth is like, he's still playing in kind of a punk band, 40 years later, having a great time.
He doesn't have to pour concrete for a living. He can just go do that, which is probably a hell of a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather sing on a cruise ship than like be working a construction job in my 50s.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know, but having a construction job in your 50s does not sound so bad, really, but you know what I mean?
Well, that's the end of Office Space.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
oh my God, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Well, you don't work in tech, but I do. And one of the things that's hilarious is I'd say every single man I know in tech has a fantasy blue collar or Main Street USA type job that in their brain is the thing they do. And mine, pizza shop.
Oh,
I would be a pizza guy. I would make pizza. That's like my fantasy.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you also have more than once rolled out the Sir Mix-a-Lot anecdote.
Oh yeah. Like Sir Mix-a-Lot is stoked. Like he famously, people ask him, do you hate this song? And he's like, hell no. I made like $200 million off this song. There's a funny little video going around as of this week where some random guy just emailed Sir Mix-a-Lot because he was like, LA face, Oakland booty. He's like, there's at least 10 cities that are more notable for booty than Oakland. So what's going on? What was Oakland like in the 90s? He literally like asked Sir Mix-a-Lot, and Sir Mix-a-Lot kind of completely dodges the whole thing and says, people change and I'm a titty man now. And
that is a beautiful answer.
Yeah. Could you imagine? Like, then you wonder, like, is Sir Mix-a-Lot going to come back and have his whole new thing? Is he going to have a moment like Afro Man?
Well, I hope so.
Congrats to Afro Man, by the way.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I usually don't have like armchair quarterbacking of movies in top of my mind, but there's a lot of stuff I thought that could have made this movie like a lot better.
Sure.
I thought the satanic elements were like that's to me where it got pretty sloppy, right? Like I'm so pedantic, right? So she marries the guy.
You're like, that should be a septagram, not a pentagram.
No, not like that.
And
But okay, so this movie is so much about the law.
yes,
The rules, the law,
Yeah.
and
as we know, love is the law.
yeah, and like so she marries him, and then he specifically says, "In this life and the next."
Yes.
Right. So are they still married? Like by the rules, like she's just abdicated her responsibility, but she doesn't abdicate her marriage.
Right.
And then it's the whole thing, the exorcist rules for me, which is like, okay, you've established the devil. Therefore, like, are there saints and whatnot on the other side, but I was, cause I'm team Catholic, I was really pleased that they're like Irish Catholic waitresses. I thought was pretty fun. The two girls.
Wait, when?
Because their name's Faith and Grace.
Yeah.
One of the families was like, ugh, Irish Catholics, like with this total disdain.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. I think in a way, to be fair to this movie, which I know I rarely am fair to movies in this way, but it's a sort of like medium budget, fun action girl power movie, right? And its approach to the occult is, I wouldn't say preposterously ill-informed, because I don't know who knows what on the writing team.
It's
but
all hokey, you know what I mean?
It's hokey and it's made up. Like someone who knows literally nothing about the occult could have written, there are these powerful families and they just get together and sacrifice goats and people. Hail Satan. Like that's kind of the extent of the lore that it gets into, compared to, some other stuff that we've talked about and reviewed that really, really go the distance with knowledge of the occult. But I question whether this should. I almost feel like if it was too accurate, it would start to be burdened and less fun.
I think all that stuff's super unimportant. You don't always have to be the dude from The Witch. You know what I mean? It's too much.
Yes.
It's only for the nerdiest of the nerds, so fuck them. But I think this suffers a little bit like what the new season of The Boys is suffering right now, which is like Homelander's kind of like a Trump stand-in, and they almost can't out-parody Trump. I guess there's been a few beats in the series this year that like there's like a golden statue element, and then Trump actually literally has a golden statue, and so you can't sort of parry it. So you have this idea of these like satanic elites in the same year with all this Epstein shit coming out,
right?
When you have potentially real satanic elites, you have like all these weird techno-feudalists that think they're like using technology to summon some sort of like robot god. Like people do believe this for real now.
Yeah.
And like, it just seems.
And they're not inconsequential people.
Yeah. They're like very serious people who like
have a lot of power and
currently
capital,
affecting real people's lives in material ways.
But in terms of the rule of fun, I think that its investment in understanding Satanism and the occult in general is fine. Sort of like its understanding of how violence actually functions, for example, is fine. It's in service of a lot of gags.
There's moments too where like I wish they just worked on the deaths a little bit more. Like the guy getting killed in the laundry machine, great.
It's great.
Look, it's a great kill. It's super hilarious. And then so many other ones are like, oh, you just get stabbed, or like you just, I don't know. Like maybe it's just because of how fun the last Final Destination was. Like we were sort of spoiled.
Yeah. True.
Also, like Art the Clown is out there now. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's Howard. Like that's the level,
right? Most people in this movie die by exploding.
Yeah.
Right. So there is that.
Yeah. And the other thing that didn't make any sense to me, like there's just like weird plot things. It's like, why would the woman, I guess she's like from like a Chinese or Japanese family or something like that. Why would she have wanted to make that deal? Like, aren't these like evil satanic elites? Like they should give zero fucks.
It would guarantee her the place.
But as I understand it, like if you killed her, you got the place, right? So why wouldn't she have just like lopped her head off with her Chinese sword, and instead of like having all this rigmarole about a wedding.
Yeah, I think maybe my impression is that if that maybe what she was saying is true. Like she's not into all the death and all that. Like, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. We do sacrifice. We do all this stuff. We're not evil. We're just less evil. And I'm not interested in murdering you. I'd rather you married my brother. Also, it could have perhaps been like this kid is not going to further the family name. This is a way to get someone to actually marry him. Like he's not an incel. I forget, what's the Japanese word? They're Chinese, but what's the Japanese word for guys who lock themselves in their parents' apartment?
It's like hidekori or something like that.
I don't remember. But, he doesn't make eye contact with anybody. So this might be her way of actually getting him breeding and furthering the family name.
I mean, maybe.
Could be that.
Yeah. Maybe.
Good thinking, sis.
The other thing I thought was pretty weak was like the reason why the sisters don't talk anymore was, okay, you're 18 years old and your sister's 15 and you're moving to New York and you guys are in a pretty okay foster situation. And it was like betraying for you to go to New York at 18 when your sister's 15 and not take her. Like, was not exactly like the worst thing that ever happened. You know what I mean?
My impression is that the 15-year-old, all she had was her older sister, and her sister abandoned her, and she was never able to get past that.
Right, but like you're a teenager and you're in foster care. You have like you can't even do anything. Like all you could do in my mind in New York at 15 is like stuff from the movie Kids.
Well, no, totally. I think how feasible what she's asking for is not relevant in her mind. Like she's not being reasonable. She's holding on to this like trauma from her teen years and has not reevaluated at all. She just like is as mad as the day she felt abandoned. And I will just say that, sorry, I hate pulling this card, but speaking as a therapist, a lot of people genuinely do not revisit and question some of the premises that are foundational for their lives.
But thinking about it just practically, like, hey, Grace, or Faith, whichever one of the names is, why don't you finish high school first? And then come see me in Bushwick or whatever.
Right.
You know, like what?
You mean, why didn't the older sister say that?
Yeah. Like, I mean, like, and they're supposed to be thick as thieves. They were like super buddies.
Well, my understanding is she said, I'll come get you. And then the younger sister just went, fuck you.
Yeah. It's like, sorry, like you're a fucking teenager. Like you don't get to move to New York yet.
No, totally. I think you're expecting irrational decision.
I know this is the total type of conversation I hate about movies too, that we're having right now. It's like, well, this should have been like that. Yeah.
And you suckered me into it.
Well, there's just nothing else to talk about, to be honest. It's like camera doesn't really move that interestingly in the film, although it does at the beginning. Like that's another thing. Like
it's kind of a oneer.
Yeah, there's like a kind of like it's a fake oneer. You know, they have little cuts or whatever. But
they probably just honestly, again, probably didn't have the money to like really pull off a really good, juicy, true oneer. So they just kind of fudged it.
But even, I mean, that's fine. Whatever, like 1917 gets all this like credit for like being this like one-shot movie, but it's kind of not, you know. Again, it's like the first 10, 15 minutes of this movie, like you're like, oh, this is going to be great. Like that interesting camera stuff. Like, you know, I also love when a sequel takes place within minutes of the previous movie ending. I think it's always fun, especially if some time passes. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of falls off. It's weird that it just gets so lazy in the middle. And also like this movie, I saw Jason K. Pargan or somebody talking about, why aren't movies 90 minutes? Like, why does every movie have to be over 2 hours now?
Yeah.
And this movie is over 2 hours and it does not need to be.
What did he say is the reason?
It's just bloat. Like, I don't know why. Like, I know that in the olden days, movies were 90 minutes. You could cram more screenings in an evening.
That makes
Yeah, at a
sense.
movie
Yep.
theater. Like
Yep.
that was like kind of the deal, was like if your movie was really long, it would actually cost you money at the box office.
Right.
Which I don't think is a concern much at all. Like, was this movie even in the theaters?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
For like 8 minutes.
Right. But I can imagine that they don't quite think of it that way anymore.
Yeah. Probably not.
Or quite to the same degree. Something I did kind of like, it's small, but it resonated a lot for me, is part of this being a continuation of the last movie, is all the violence that was done to her, all the blood that got splattered on her is still crusted. Like, the movie starts off where she's in it. She gets in the ambulance. They put her in
Scrubs.
Yeah.
Not scrubs, a gown.
Yeah. And then as she's leaving, she grabs her stuff and puts that dress back on. And it's her wedding dress crusted with blood. And then this movie, she loses another sleeve. She gets stabbed. Just more blood, more blood. I think it's interesting just what happens to her costuming, which then also, I think, partly sets up the final gag of the last guy who thinks he made it, and then he explodes on them one last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why was that late timing? Like, the devil just not see him back there?
I think, yeah, because he's a trickster, that one.
Yeah. Or maybe he just thought it would be funny. This guy's got jokes. You wonder, too, did his wife explode elsewhere? Probably, right?
Oh.
The Indian dude's wife.
Right.
Bolts.
Oh, God, I read something about a bunch of people were saying both directions. Yes, she would explode, and had some sort of litigation around why technically she wouldn't have been.
I think she would have exploded.
She just left.
It doesn't seem that you don't get to play. Yeah, you don't get to not play.
Well, everybody can not play, but there was the reckoning at the end. Maybe she would have exploded when that last guy exploded. I don't know. Yeah, I think also all the rules and everything are additionally something it's not worth thinking about too hard.
Yeah, why?
You can do that, but it's mostly about how it sets up the action.
What about just a full movie of just Frodo and his satanic law firm?
Wait, what?
Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
Like if there was just a movie about him as a lawyer, as a satanic lawyer.
Kind of like The Office.
Yeah, like My Cousin Vinny, but for the devil.
I would. Oh God, that sounds like the best show. Maybe it's a little bit What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, I feel like an infernal law firm would be kind of a good premise.
Well, I mean, Sarah Michelle Gellar adjacent in Buffy, there was that law firm, that satanic law firm, whose name I really should know, and it's escaping me. Wolf and Hart?
I don't know. I've never seen one episode of Buffy.
It's fucking stupid.
The show Buffy is stupid?
No, you know that's not how I feel. You definitely don't need to watch Buffy. I am definitely going to rewatch it sometime very soon for the third, fourth time.
Does it not stand up?
I think it's just not your vibe. Yeah, it's campy and hokey, and you hate Joss Whedon like on principle. So, yeah.
Oh, then that's not true. Like, I actually really liked the Buffy movie quite a bit, which I understand is quite not the same vibe.
It's really not.
And then I really liked Cabin in the Woods. Like, I have to, I give him all his flowers for that. And I kind of liked Firefly a little bit too, but not much.
Did you watch Serenity too?
Yeah, I didn't think Serenity was very good.
Yeah.
I rewatched Firefly a couple years ago, and to me, it was just whack upon rewatching. Yeah. Although it does have one of my favorite scenes of all time is when the captain just like kicks the dude into the engine. He's like, "Oh, come get you!" And he's like, "No, you won't!" And just like kills him. Like,
I don't remember.
Oh, it's a fun scene in the movie. It's like my favorite scene in Firefly.
Yeah. Speaking of Sarah Michelle Gellar, I thought she was really good in this, and I'm a huge Buffy fan, but I don't know that via Buffy I would necessarily call her a good actor. And the things that she's done since Buffy have been pretty inconsistent as far as her performances are concerned.
I didn't even recognize her.
That's amazing. I thought she was really solid in this movie, and that partly disappeared into the role. Yeah, wasn't just her usual self. But I think she had a bit of a journey as a character that I was on board for. She's better than I'm used to seeing her in this, and I wonder why. If it was just she put more time in, or the part resonated with her, or I don't know, it's just that alchemy that is hard to name.
You could say.
Something I did like about this movie is that, generally speaking, sequels and prequels and all that shit usually fail because they try to articulate too much more of the world in a way that is not interesting. I feel like most prequels and sequels, that's what they do. Let's really dig into why X is X, and it's just not interesting. Or the premise of the original had mysteries in it and allowed for questions.
Yeah.
And then you go answer those questions as if that's what people wanted all along. And they might think they do, but it's not actually interesting to have all your questions answered. And I think what this movie does effectively is that it articulates more of that world in a way that's kind of satisfying. I don't want to totally compare it to John Wick, but like that.
That's immediately what I thought of. I thought it was like the same level of pulling back, revealing a little bit more. You get a little bit more of like how the weird coin economy functions or whatever.
Right.
You know, I think for like
but a little bit, not everything. Someone doesn't like get up and explain everything about this family and its legacy going back 12,000 years. And like, you just kind of, it's definitely more about the world, but you're kind of just getting a couple of slices, and they don't explain much. They mostly just do it. Mostly. And I appreciate that. Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah. No. What I do with a sequel to this movie?
Yeah. So how would you step it up or down one more?
I mean, I don't think there needs to be a third in this
Well, there doesn't
series.
need to be, but you know, if
there could be like 7 of them, you never know.
Sure.
You know? I mean, or you could do like the Alien 3 thing, which is like you just take it to like a weirder setting, you know, like but I guess you have to have her in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Unless you're doing a prequel.
I mean, that could be kind of fun. Like you're doing a prequel of like her dating the first guy, and then there's like all this stuff happening around them.
The first week of the relationship.
Yeah.
And everything, all the red flags that she doesn't see.
Yeah.
So it's kind of how to lose a guy in 50 dates or whatever.
Kind of.
But
infernal.
That's pretty good. I was thinking, this is dumb, but like, if it turned out that their parents were actually part of that whole thing before they died.
Yeah.
So they're actually, they just got out, but it turns out they're actually in it. They always have been. They just didn't know it.
Yeah. There could also be like a weird mechanism where like, okay, so all the families are dead. Like, well, who's left now? Would the devil have cleared out all of his like human mechanisms to make the world worse?
Oh, okay. So you're saying that this evil cabal that has controlled everything and made the world awful.
Right.
We're now free.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So because the devil no longer has this sort of like corporate control mechanism.
Yeah. It's like,
it has to find another way.
Yeah. Like, what does the Middle East look like without Netanyahu? You know?
Wow.
Your face.
Do I edit that out?
Yeah.
What do I do with that?
No, man, you can leave that in there.
Okay.
The guy's evil.
All right.
Have you ever seen the movie The Disorderlies?
You mean with the Fat Boys?
Yeah, who are...
I don't think I have.
Okay.
I certainly remember the previews from when I was a kid.
I've had like 3 conversations about this movie recently, but the premise of The Disorderlies is there's an old man who's on all these medications, and he's sort of like the Primarch of a family. He's like, and then his son wants him to die so he can inherit all of his money. So he hires the Fat Boys to be his orderlies and take care of him because he assumes that the Fat Boys will cause his father's death. And what ends up happening is they accidentally throw away all of his medicine and he becomes healthy all of a sudden.
Oh.
Which is a surprisingly modern sort of take on medicine. And I think it actually really like informed my view on the medical industrial complex at a young age, the fat boys. But say you did get rid of the Epstein class, like I assume somebody just as evil would rise up and take its place, with its own bullshit. But like imagine if for like a year there were no like satanic elites commanding things. Like, what do you think would happen? And I'm using satanic elites metaphorically.
Okay, well, if you're using it metaphorically, I mean, power vacuums always get filled.
That's what I'm saying.
That is humanity. That's the way it is. I think one of the beautiful and ridiculous things about America is the way in which it believes that is or isn't true.
Yeah.
It's cute in the ways that it believes that that's not true.
Do you want to hear my my theory on who's going to take over in the next 20 years? Furries. I think AI is creating a situation where there's going to be a need for like super powerful cybersecurity people fixing everything.
Yeah.
And they're stacked with furries. And so I think there's going to be,
true. Yeah.
I think like furry cybersecurity cabals are going to be the power center of the future.
Huh.
Yeah. They have community.
Yeah.
They have social mores. So they're sort of like an identifiable class of people that unite together. They have a specific skill set that most people don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, sort of a counter. I mean, I think that's right on. But are you familiar with this YouTuber named Magic?
No.
Super fascinating. I know nothing about her. Her YouTube channel is really interesting. She's a DJ, this young black woman. And if I'm getting it correctly, all of her posts are just DJ mixes.
Mm-hmm.
And then she made a video that I'm probably getting the exact title wrong, but the terminally online is the underclass of the future.
Oh, yeah. I watched part of that.
Okay. Wait, did I send it to you or do you know what I'm talking about?
Me, yeah.
Oh, I did send it to you. Okay.
But then I started seeing it around. It seems to be going like...
It's going around.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Like, it's one of the most low budget, low production value YouTube video essays I've ever seen. But it's got like 500,000 views. And it's just, I think, spot on about so much. And the premise, I mean, it's right there in the title, whether I got the title right or not, which is that, like, I think we're going to do an episode of Self-Help for Nihilists about AI and therapy.
Yep.
And it seems so far that AI as your therapist is terrible for you, but it's also free.
Yes.
Or depending on if you pay for a platform like Mark Manson's Grift.
Man, that guy's evil, huh?
Oh, man, he turned a fucking corner. But what this means is if you can afford it, you pay a real therapist and you get real therapy. If you can't afford it, you get shit therapy, which is totally accessible and it's free or incredibly nominal cost.
Yeah.
And it may be harmful, but it's just sort of like terrible, shitty food. Everything is, this is the way the world is stacked, right? If you're broke, you get the shit version. If you have money, you get the better version, generally speaking. And psychotherapy is connected to that. Now there is this ultra budget option called AI. And her essay sort of parallels that, right? Like being terminally online is a really cheap option to stay ignorant, to stay out of the loop. You're sort of following what's being fed. It doesn't require an education to navigate being terminally online. And the privileged go outside. So there's that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it seems to be that there's like a pretty powerful push to not be online right now, especially with the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha types. Like there's like definitely like raves are kind of back. Everywhere that some boomer gets in front of a graduating class of people and starts talking about AI, they get booed off the stage.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. It's interesting to seeing some stuff like kids in technology being into like building cyber decks and things like that. But I feel like that's actually propaganda. I feel like getting young people interested in soldering and welding computer components together is just sort of getting America ready for a future of China taking over Taiwan, and now America has to build its own chips. I think that's kind of like
I mean,
what's
all right.
coming.
I think we don't know what's going to happen yet because part of the difficulty with like looking at Gen Z and Alpha and the ways in which they are statistically mistrustful of technology, wish that social media didn't exist, all of that. They are not on social media. They don't not use AI.
Yeah.
They all use it to, and by all, I mean statistically, all use it to cheat in school. They are all on TikTok all day
Yes.
and simultaneously wish it didn't exist and think it's bullshit and will boo people off the stage for talking about it and promoting
But
it.
they've also
But
inherited like a really shitty situation. Like they don't have third spaces. Like they don't
yeah,
really have cars are
yeah.
unaffordable. Like,
But I think that something is going to come out of this that we don't know yet. Like they reject it, but they use it, but they don't have enough agency yet for us to be able to see, well, what can they do with that contrarian position to this situation they've been handed and seem to be swallowing whole nonetheless.
yeah.
Soon as they're old enough to have more agency, we might witness something really interesting that we didn't see coming, which isn't just, like my solution, like I hate social media. I deleted my account. I think TikTok is evil. I've never seen it in my life. I hate people yelling nonsense on the news. I refuse to watch it. Like, it doesn't seem like Gen Alpha is like, I hate TikTok, therefore I don't watch it. They don't do that.
Yeah.
But they'll do something.
What I think is going to happen is like, I think you have the situation where production tools are actually getting quite cheap. You can run your own LLM on a laptop, all this stuff. So like there's these sort of like feral decentralized technology opportunities out there. And you also have a whole bunch of people with tech skills that are graduating into a non-existent work economy. Like they just don't have jobs for their skills, right? So what are these people going to do? They're going to have to go do their own thing, right? And so I could see like this is almost like the plot of Silicon Valley, but like a parallel internet developing that is just cooler and works in a different way and would maybe eventually like starve out the big companies. But they're so big. I don't think in our lifetime we would see them starved out. Like I was trying to think about like, there's like stats, like if a restaurant lost like 15% of its sales, it would just go under in like 3 years.
Yeah.
If Facebook lost 15% of its users, it would still chug along for decades.
In a sense, yes.
Yeah.
But these companies don't necessarily like, we can just rely on our coffers because valuation, if they lost 15% and people felt like the winds were changing dramatically against it enough, its valuation would decline and people would pull their resources out of it. And it could, despite that money, tank.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what would replace it though. Like, cause I mean, think about how many like corny Facebook and Twitter competitors have come up, like Blue Sky. Like Blue Sky isn't doing dick, and then I was thinking about,
read a statistic that there are more calls for assassination on Blue Sky than on Twitter.
I'm not surprised. I mean, I
yeah.
also think just because the way it's built that there's actually less governance on it. So
Interesting.
yeah, like, I mean, who knows?
These replacement platforms, well, the thing is, like, I think there is always this, like, I hate the way Facebook is, so let's make a nice Facebook with fewer Nazis. And it's like, yeah, but the platform inherently, you're just an ultra-left equivalent of a Nazi. Like, it values the extreme. It values the contrarian. It values the most toxic opinion. That's just how it works. And so replacing it with your version of that is not going to help the situation.
Yeah.
So I think that replacing something like Meta, Facebook, all these platforms isn't necessarily about like, oh, you just got to tweak the algorithm and have different moderators. It's got to be something really radically different.
Yeah. Well, in technology, they talk about the original sin of the internet is like tying it to ad revenue.
Right.
And I just don't see, like, I think if I had an idea of what would replace it, I would have a company, You know what I mean? Like, I think that we will go the rest of our days seeing the internet and technology companies driven by ad revenue, or at least social media companies.
Well, I mean, where else are they going to get their money?
I mean, it's already happening with like AI, right? Like the whole idea was like, oh, we're going to have AGI any day now, so we can pour trillions of dollars into this. And now OpenAI is already like testing ads in the platform, and then the model, and there's this, man, MIT just ran this dark study, which is pretty much that AIs are already starting to recommend the products of companies that are already paying for ad revenue. Like, it's sort of like poisoning the model in a way already. So like, like once you add advertising to the LLM, it completely skews its calculation. I mean, it's super dark.
Watch me tie it back to the movie we're discussing. Although I paused to say that and then I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
No, there is. Behold, what I'm always fascinated by when talking about like corporate America or the fill in the blank industrial complex, all that, is it often frames these systems in a cartoonish way. And I think that makes sense because something like Bank of America, right? Or Merck, or, these companies are so colossally huge and have so much power, it's hard to wrap one's head around. No human being understands what $1 billion is, not even billionaires. It becomes abstraction. So approximating what that means in terms of power, you can only think of it in cartoonish terms. I'm being corny, but it's sort of like you're contemplating the face of God. Like, the human mind is not equipped to deal with something that big and complex. And I think that's partly what's fascinating about the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing, because I think it is simultaneously far simpler than the terms we tend to discuss it. It's also so much more complex.
Yeah, that's just a horny Mossad agent on one level.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not mythological what he's done. It's just too complex to dismiss or explain in simple terms. And so I think it's fun to go like, there's a group of goat sacrificing Satanists that are literally in league with the devil, and they're the ones who control everything. It's like this far away from saying that the Jews control the media, and not, we're not just talking about there are a lot of Jewish people who happen to own media companies, but rather like there's this global conspiracy.
Yeah. One thing I've wondered kind of related to this is, okay, you ever known somebody who like imitates somebody's accent for long enough they sort of get that accent?
I don't think so.
So like I have a friend who would constantly do like the Ninth Ward accent in New Orleans. Like it was like her shtick. She would joke around.
Right.
And then after a few years, her accent sort of like shifted to it. I sometimes wonder if like these powerful elites are like, yeah, we're satanic. And then they just goof. And then all of a sudden they are. You know what I mean? Like there's like.
Amazing.
Yeah. Like let's use Moloch to control the goys. And all of a sudden like you kind of are,
Oh my God.
Like it starts as a goof, but then it's like your thing.
That's bananas. What if they're doing a total Gen X thing and doing it ironically?
God, it reminds me of my favorite Onion article of all time, which was about the guy who was like ironically becoming an investment banker.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy
it's like,
shit.
oh, look at this watch. Ha ha. It's like, then we're like, we're going to go to the Hamptons this weekend. Lol.
Well, I mean, there's something to that, right? Because when you, especially with a lot of these tech companies, there has always been, as Techgnosis by Eric Davis would show, there is so often these occult ties between the fringes of technology and how it is invested in the fringes of the occult.
Oh, yeah, dude, Jack Parsons and NASA. Like, you cannot get a better example than that.
Sure. But it also feels very present. the Nick Land thing that's happening right now, the resurgence of interest in Nick Land, not
Yeah.
strictly occult, but like,
Did you watch
good
the
enough.
interview of that guy that was on Tucker
Absolutely
Carlson that
not.
was like so it's really fascinating.
Maybe tie it back for.
Okay, so Nick Land, who if you listen to the show, you might know, you probably know who Nick
Nobody's
Land is.
read him.
But he's like, I read Fang Numina. But you look at very obscure cyber satanic sort of philosophy guy that I think like
Post-Kantian, postmodern theorist.
yeah, like
media theory.
Nick Land is Throbbing Gristle if Mark Fisher is Nine Inch Nails.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah,
like
that
that
would be how I would describe it,
Yeah.
you know. And no one fucking at all has thought about Nick Land since the late 90s,
No.
except for some extremely obscure right-wing people like Kantbot or something like that. Like they might.
He was in the theory space and went like hard deep right, and so everybody abandoned him because people on the right don't care about that sort of thing, or previously generally don't, and everybody on the left, you know, they smell a Nazi and they run the other way.
I think he dipped pretty hard into like race realism or something. Yeah, pretty much, you know, by way of Nietzsche or something like some totally crazy thing, you know. So Tucker Carlson had this guy who's like a movie producer or something like that, like maybe a documentarian who has been sort of studying the occult philosophical roots of the tech industry. And in a way that you would maybe like do a documentary about Jack Parsons and the founding of Scientology and NASA. Like that stuff is all there, is all real. Jack Parsons created basically the rocket industry, and he was an occultist. So this guy is on Tucker Carlson talking about all this stuff, and then he kind of like explains Nick Land for normies, and probably the best articulation of it that you could possibly find. And then, of course, all the deep theory weirdos who actually care about Nick Land were like sort of like incensed because like Tucker Carlson is like a normie ultimately that they don't like. But the funniest part of it was, you know, Nick Land's still around, and he was over the moon delighted to have been discussed on Tucker Carlson. And he was talking about, he's like, man, I hope this guy does a movie of my life because he really gets it. He really understands all the, so this dude, so you have like this very, in my opinion, like if you wanted to know about Nick Land, you should probably watch that Tucker Carlson episode, you know, because to me, I was watching, I was like, oh, he's kind of like explaining it at the level, you know, if you ask ChatGPT, explaining this at a 7th grade level, it's kind of that. But I just thought the fact that Nick Land himself weighed in and was like delighted was pretty hilarious to me.
Wow.
But yeah, people have really mixed feelings about Tucker Carlson these days. Like I watched him dog walk Kevin O'Leary over his data center the other day, and I was like, whatever crimes Tucker Carlson may have been guilty of in the past, he was 100% right to smash Kevin O'Leary on data centers.
Who's Kevin O'Leary?
He's this fucking terrible dude who's on Shark Tank. He's Mr. Wonderful. He wears like a red watch wristband. The guy fucking sucks. He's like,
he wears a red.
His signature douche move is all of his watches have red bands. You know, he'll wear like some like $200,000 Patek, you know, watch or whatever. Anyway, he's like a horrible like entrepreneur, like a Mark Cuban type dude, right?
Okay.
And he is building the data center in Box Elder, Utah, which everyone's freaking out about. And Tucker Carlson kind of like debates him over it, you know, and Kevin O'Leary's like, look, we're going in here and not paying any taxes because that's just how capitalism works. And then Tucker Carlson, of all people, is like, that's not how it should work. You know, like you shouldn't take people's fucking land and stuff and pay no taxes to put up a surveillance state. You're like, no notes, you know, like, right. So, yeah, they're all grifters, you know what I mean? Like they're all entertainers basically, but I don't know. It's just also, it's like people are getting twisted up over like, oh my God, do I agree with Tucker Carlson?
Sure.
Like,
why not?
Well, I mean, is that like my enemy of my enemy is my friend thing not real anymore? You know, like that's just like a classic, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like watching two teams you hate in the SEC play each other, you know, like college football, Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry. Which was your favorite satanic family in Ready or Not To? Like, who were you rooting for the most?
I mean, of course, I was rooting for Buffy, but not her brother, Sarah Michelle Gellar. I don't know the characters' names.
I was most curious about the Latin American family for a few years. One, like, okay, so the whole thing of like, you can only use a weapon from the time that your family has sold out. So they're sort of like new money Satanists, because they're like,
Yeah.
they have guns. So obviously, or they have like a pretty modern rifle. So
Yes.
at least in the last 30 years, their family has gone down the dark path.
Right.
And she was also scheduled to marry the guy.
I like that little extra part of the plot,
Yeah.
which again is a way of having a sequel that deepens the story. It didn't go very far with it. But
You know what the third version of this would be?
tell.
It's been 2 days since she's been hanging out with the guy she was going to marry. She likely had sex with him. What if she is pregnant with the Antichrist from that short marriage?
So you mean after the? Oh, okay. After this,
She's pregnant right before the events of Ready or Not 1.
So the end of Ready or Not 2,
Yeah.
where she and her sister are walking off,
Yeah.
and then like 3 weeks later, she's throwing up in a restaurant bathroom.
Yes.
If you've ever watched a movie and a woman throws up, you know that she's pregnant.
Yes.
Just like if you're watching a movie and a child goes, you know they'll be dead within 5 scenes.
Yep.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah.
I like this a lot.
It'd be interesting because she has to decide, like, aborting the baby is satanic, but is having the baby satanic?
I don't know.
Like
I don't think that character would hesitate to have an abortion at all.
You never know, though. Some people like weirdly want the kid. They're like, oh my god, she's getting close to 30. Like that's like when people want the baby.
Is it?
I've known a few women.
She lives in New York. She's not like that.
Yeah, but who knows?
New York hipster women don't get pregnant at 30.
But she's not a hipster, is she? She's like a waitress, She's like also too attractive to be a true hipster. She has options. She clearly had options. She married the rich satanic guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That could be a tie-in to Hellboy 3.
How so?
Like that could be the baby. She could have Hellboy. Although I think Hellboy's already like 70 years old by the time this movie happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that continuity's not going to work.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Retcon it. So we definitely have a thing that we can observe that, let's just keep it to Mexico. Mexico is a deeply Catholic country. And there's a lot of really fascinating satanic music and art appreciation in Mexico. And it seems, how can we not tie it to Catholicism, right? This deeply Catholic country seems to have all these fascinating side resonancies with satanic imagery and satanic art, overtly satanic art. And I'm curious if that connection is similarly live for you. And we can edit around we can edit around what I'm about to say if it doesn't quite frame you correctly. But like, you were raised Catholic.
No, I went to Catholic high school. I was
okay. That's what I'm sorry. Okay, so you were around it.
Yeah, I was not from New Orleans.
It's ambient.
Yeah.
And you've returned to the one true faith.
Yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah. But you still seem to have this like satanic cinema. That's my jam, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say like satanic cinema.
Well, we've talked about like what kind of horror movies do we like? It's been brought up on this podcast many times, and it seems that stuff that invests in that kind of occult appeals to you particularly compared to other types of horror movies, right?
So I would say okay, you know how like people who go.
Do you understand my question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say it like this. You know how people go Sasquatch hunting? They're just camping, right? But there's a Sasquatch, so it's kind of more fun.
Right.
I would say that if you are a faithful Catholic person, there's an element of realism imbued into a movie with the devil. You're like, oh, I know that character, right? And so that I think makes it a little bit more fun. Where the really hardcore like square Catholics would probably get off here is they're like, oh, you shouldn't like traffic in anything that like glorifies evil or like any movie where the devil looked cool is sort of classically a movie that like Catholic youth pastors would tell you shouldn't go check out.
Right.
Right.
And I find that discrepancy really interesting because, yes, there's some sort of like a fundamentalism, let's just call it, even though that word has certain connotations when applied to religion, would totally reject horror movies and music, etc., that dabble in
this is
Satanism.
The whole thing. Yeah.
But I find it so fascinating that behind so much satanic art, film and music, are Catholics or lapsed Catholics.
Yeah.
The audience for something like this, and I don't know, I'm just making it up about Ready or Not too. There seems to be some sort of like, similar to what you were just describing. Yeah, this is familiar to me. Like, I already feel invited to this party.
Well, like I was saying earlier, like two pretty Irish Catholic girls beat the devil worshippers.
Right.
That's literally what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in The Exorcist, the priest sacrifices himself and wins. And like, there's actually like quite a few Catholic papers written about like the end of the Exorcist and his death. Like, you know, did he commit suicide and is therefore sent to hell? And the answer is no. Like, you can always sacrifice yourself to save somebody in Catholicism, like, and die like that. Like, so like if there was like a maniac that came in here in an axe and I ran in front of him to stop him from killing you.
Thank you.
I would, I mean, especially now I went to mass this morning, so I'm in a state of grace, right? Like, I would go right upstairs. Yeah, so it'd be great for me.
I haven't converted Mark yet. Stop.
Yeah. I would, but if you were killed, I would always have the option of praying for your soul, even if you had died.
Would you?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, not of course. I don't know. You're busy.
I mean, sometimes it's like blanket. You would like, in the mass they ask you like for today what should we pray for, and usually there's somebody that says for all the souls in purgatory.
Yeah.
And it's just like a blanket.
And you're just picturing me.
Well, you're not dead yet, so you're not there.
No, I know. After the axe murderer.
Yeah. But I'm hoping that like my financial success and abs convince other people of the righteousness of my path. I'm just kidding. Like,
you're just going to post thirst traps and go
I'm thinking like
follow me to the gates of heaven.
I'm thinking of the Muscle Man subplot in Righteous Gemstones. Oh, you still haven't seen Righteous.
Bringing this up as if I care.
I know, but you need to get over your hatred of Danny McBride. Yeah. I can't explain it, but there's in one of the seasons, one of the characters who is a son of the main Jerry Falwell character. He is gay, and his love interest is a former Satanist who has like 666 tattooed on his chest. And this guy, Keith, is maybe one of the best characters on TV of all time. He's like constantly just trying to resist the dark forces in his mind. He's like a goth, but they start their own like pastoral outreach when it's just all jacked dudes, and it's the gayest thing ever. But it's based sort of on a real thing called the Power Team. Do you know what the Power Team is? We've talked about it before. Yeah.
Earlier episode.
One of our first episodes. It was like these evangelical strongmen that would like come around the churches and be like, they would just do feats of strength, like just kind of corny ones, like break ice blocks or like break baseball bats across their knee or like tear
Bibles.
Yeah. They would tear phone booths or phone books rather. I saw them when I was a kid. It was awesome. It was like the height
superheroes.
It was like the height of like WrestleMania in the 80s, and these guys would come around. But like the best part of it is like they were all fucking roided out and like totally a mess, a lot of meth. But also, that's Protestant stuff. So to my mind now, heretical.
What?
Yeah. Those like evangelical dudes, they're not Catholic. They're Protestants.
Oh, so heresy. I understand. Oh my God. The turn your life has taken.
I would say it has been really fun. Like getting back all into this stuff. It's like, I hang out with mostly like old Mexican and Filipino ladies.
Yeah.
Who are like a hoot.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the things that's really missing from society, I'm not trying to sell anybody on this, but
you can talk about your life in a positive way without it being a sales pitch.
But like, there's a lot, there's kind of like a lack, especially somebody like me, some dude that works in tech, there's like a lack of cross-cultural, intergenerational friendships.
Absolutely.
And it's like, it's a thing that you see portrayed in like movies or even in Europe, like, you just sitting down and smoking a cigarette and playing chess with some old man or something like that in Greece or whatever. Like that doesn't really happen. But I have that element that's been introduced in my life this year, and it's been super fun. Like I go to like potlucks and stuff,
Oh,
like
cool.
with these old people.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. It's one of the things that's kind of funny too is like different churches, as Catholic churches have been like put into bankruptcy because of sex abuse scandals, frankly. Some of the parishes, or not the parishes, but some of the churches have to kind of merge. So you'll
Yeah,
have
sure.
like what might have previously been an all Vietnamese church merging with like an all Tongan church or whatever. And
Oh,
so
holy shit.
they
Yeah.
kind of share the spaces a little bit.
How does that go?
It goes great. Everybody gets along, but
That's cool.
there'll be events that are like kind of specifically like sponsored by like, I guess like a race, right? Like, so there'll be like the, like Brazilians or whatever will have like a night, or like they'll sponsor mass or something like that. Not a sponsor mass, but they'll do like a fish fry or something like that. But I've been, now I'm officially Filipino now. I've been drafted into the Filipino contingent.
All right.
Which is like, they told me that the other day.
You're just putting ube on everything.
Yeah, yeah. What's weird is like there's a lot of old people and there's kids, but there's nobody my age like around. Like,
Oh,
it's not like a parent or something like that.
right. Okay.
Yeah, like, it's certainly a weird path.
Sorry, just a correction. I said put ube on everything as if it's a spread, and that's because I have ube spread. I know what ube is. I just talked about it as if it was something other than what it is.
Yeah, as a former food copywriter, I still follow like food trends. I still kind of pay attention. Ube is like the ingredient of the year.
Still.
Yeah. It usually like it'll be like 2 or 3 years. Like if you went to the fancy food show in San Francisco, which everyone in San Francisco should go to, you could pay $20 at the door and you go in, and it's every food company around the world giving out samples to people who work at grocery stores to try to get them. It might be like, I sell salami prosciutto from Italy and I want like Whole Foods to pick it up. So it's like a trade show, but for food. And for $20, you can go in and eat like the best food in the world for like all day.
That sounds so fun.
Dude, it's like 3 days. It's like $20 for all 3 days. But there's always like an innovation vendor area, and it's usually like dominated by one ingredient every year. So it'll be like coconut or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but ube was the thing last year.
Yeah.
And it seems to be this year too.
I'm all in on ube. I know it's trendy, but it's also like
good.
It's a really interesting flavor when it's done right.
I mean, their slave labor is totally a bummer, but fucking Dubai chocolate is awesome.
You know what? I tried it once and I just did not understand, but it might have been the brand.
Do you like pistachios?
I eat pistachios literally every day.
Huh. Okay.
So it might have been just the quality of the chocolate.
How
that
much
I got.
was the bar that you bought?
Probably like $7. Like not amazing, but
you got to spend
not
like 20,
garbage.
If you spend like $20 on it, it's where it's at.
I'll check it out.
Not to make you spend $20 on a chocolate bar, but
anybody that gives me an excuse to spend money is usually doing me a service. Oh, we're doing a podcast about a movie.
Yeah.
Huh.
Why do we even do that?
So I've been listening to old episodes, and we have been talking about like, I feel like horror movies haven't been as good lately for a long time. It's not that we've been doing that the whole time, because there was a period where it seemed like there were the types of movies that you and I are invested in, right? I mean, there might be a chicken or egg thing going on with how our respective tastes have changed relative to what's coming out. But it does seem that generally there really was this period that put out a lot of wild shit with good budgets. And that is over. And Begonia is the high exception. So many horror movies that have come out in the last year, I keep trying. And they're fun and they're fine. And I don't want to criticize them.
Yeah.
But they're so rarely doing something incredibly unique. I feel like the ultra woke voice is something new, like the horror cinema that is downstream from Get Out and sort of exploring the social justice horror or social horror or whatever. I forget what was the style that Jordan Peele himself kind of coined, that he was describing what he was actually making.
I don't know.
Get Out.
I don't remember him
he might have called it social horror, something like that. He said it more than once, so I think he was genuinely thinking in specific terms. But I think that is something new. It's not socially conscious horror has never existed before, but it seems to be consistently A24 and Shudder and all these companies that make horror movies regularly are sort of investing their focus in very progressive, ideology-driven horror movies, and that is new. I just don't care. When it's a good movie, I care. But there's something about me that started getting really, really allergic to being lectured to in cinema like some years ago.
I mean, nobody wants like a polemic. You know what I mean? A polemic is
I
always...
wouldn't say nobody.
Well, people do seem to like...
It seems fewer people than they're banking on because this sort of thing seems to be failing ultimately.
Well, I think
it's not doing the money that they thought it would. I think something like Marvel for example, has learned the hard way that like everybody wanted this thing and we give it to them and turns out they didn't actually want it.
Well, also
to
it's
the degree
like
that it seemed.
A thing that is fresh is no longer fresh after a while. And
Totally.
And also think about like everything gets absorbed and becomes a trope eventually. Like you could imagine a version of Scary Movie with a very woke lecture in it as a gag. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally.
Like I can even imagine like an A24 style Scary Movie where like the whole thing was just like bisexual lighting and obscure satanic references and, in an underserved community or something like that,
right. Yeah. I guess for me, sort of waiting for what's next.
There's a meme I saw that I feel is like directionally true as to what's next for our culture. It was a commentary. It was just one tweet and somebody commented on the tweet and that was the meme. And it was like, the guy was like, I know trans women are real women because they're bitches to me. And then the comment was like, checks notes, sorry, he's an ally. Like, the whole idea of like you're accepting, which made me think of something I was talking to my wife about today. We were talking about Clueless, bringing it back to like a classic Scary Thoughts thing.
Hell yeah.
And the character Christian, who's notably like one of the more, I would say, iconic gay characters, but because his identity is not spotlighted in any way, he's barely remembered really outside of people who just kind of love that movie, but he doesn't become a classic gay icon character like, say, Lafayette from True Blood.
Well, he has no sassy gay-isms in the movie. He's just gay. I mean, he's got the affectation, but the affectation isn't classically gay.
Yeah,
like his whole Rat Pack thing.
He's just rockabilly. But yeah, it made me think that, like, I think you'll get to a point where, I mean, like maybe Euphoria is a little like that, where like these characters' identities, it would have maybe been very spotlighted in an Oprah Winfrey movie kind of way. It's just part of the texture.
So here's my prediction, and I say that knowing full well that anytime I've ever made a prediction in my life, I've been wrong. And when I listen to old Scary Thoughts, and you and I have predictions, you're always right, and I'm always wrong.
Gonna say, I was really wrong about. I thought there was going to be a Mexican horror boom, and it didn't really happen.
Well, that's true. You did say that.
Although we did get Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, so maybe I was kind of right.
It's barely a horror movie. It's what a disappointment. But my prediction is that it's not a very bold prediction. It's just I could imagine that what's next in a big way for horror is something downstream from something like Talk to Me. And do you not know what I'm talking about?
No, I have no idea.
This is your favorite movie. I swear to God. Bring Her Back was their follow-up movie. So they've made these two Australians. Australians?
Well, yeah. I love Australia.
Yeah. Have made these two horror movies that are fucking incredible, but they are truly dark. They are resolutely hopeless and nihilist to the core in a way that is kind of rare. Like, for example, we're talking about, or failing to talk about, Ready or Not 2, which is a horror movie, basically. Mm-hmm. But like, it's not actually a dark movie. It's kind of optimistic. It's mostly a sort of like Sisterhood is Powerful-ish movie. Like, whereas Talk to Me and Bring Her Back are hopelessness investigated through narrative cinema. I could imagine that being a sort of direction for horror movies. Again, nothing is new, nothing is old. This is all constantly going on. But I mean, more movies that are more successful kind of following that trajectory. But those movies did not make a shit ton of money. The thing about prestige cinema, or whatever we want to call what happened, 8 years ago or whatever, those movies made a lot of money. Like Hereditary made a lot of money. The Witch made a lot of money. They got a lot of attention. And so that sort of inspired a zeitgeist-ish where we got bigger stars in horror movies, and being in a horror movie used to be a step down. Now it's just a thing you do.
Mm-hmm.
Now Ethan Hawke's been in several, right? Kevin Bacon's been in, I mean, if Tony Collette can do a horror movie, it's on for horror movies, right? That wasn't always the case.
The Rock is Freddy Krueger. That's my pitch.
Good. It's really good.
So stupid.
I mean, while we're talking about it, we don't have a lot of high-level horror comedies that are truly absurdist that aren't totally shitty. And sorry, this is very much my opinion. All of the absurdist horror movies I can think of that I've ever seen are really, 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 really bad. Like Lep in the Hood, But there could be a space there in the wake of something like Rick and Morty. Like, imagine that sort of level of absurdist humor, but in a live-action actual horror movie. There's space to explore there.
Yeah,
like The Rock as Freddy Krueger. You could make that movie. There's potential there for something interesting to happen.
Yeah.
That is not really happening.
Oh, what would The Rock be good at in a horror movie? He could be a great
serial. I was just going to say like a total reclusive incel plus Ted Kaczynski mountain man turned serial killer.
Oh, you know what he would be fun in?
There's a data center being built that is gonna like kick him off his land, and he goes and murders everybody at the tech company.
Here's the pitch. Here's what it is. You never see his face. The Rock is Jason Voorhees, and it's just like a super gritty.
You just know that it's him, even though you don't see him.
You never see him. Like, it's just his giant imposing body.
That's good.
And it's just you get the guy from John Wick or somebody like that to direct it, so it's kind of like a more horror action.
Yeah,
I think that movie would rule.
Yeah. Did you ever see In a Violent Nature? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
It's a slasher movie. Basically, imagine a Friday the 13th, but it's almost entirely from the point of view of Jason Voorhees. So most of the movie is you're just watching this Jason Voorhees slowly walk through the forest.
I feel like the Overlook guys talked about this movie. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really smart.
Did you talk about it with them on the show? Is that why I'm remembering it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't remember. I don't remember half of what I do. Anyway, yeah, I mean, predicting where culture is going to go next is pretty tough. I feel like you have a feel for it, and I really don't. But I have a hope that something is going to change soon, because I am dissatisfied. I really liked Ready or Not To. I really liked Abigail. I'm totally fine with the most recent Scream movie. It's fine. And I don't want to discount things like Begonia, but like, I feel like the stakes have gone down in horror cinema, and that bums me out because I'm generally invested.
Well, it's like anything. Like, there's like money in it, and the people who are desperate and inventive get pushed out a little bit. And so they're probably making something else right now. Like I was thinking about the other day, like, if I could write a book right now, what would it be? I was like, okay, what would Dungeon Synth look like as a novel? And so I had this kind of concept of like, what does that look like? Dungeon Synth is obviously like the mashup of all these different weird genres with electronic elements. And I was like, okay, what if it was like sort of like a multiversal version of Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, where like you could go in these different wardrobes and there would be different fantasy genre worlds, but sort of interacted with each other. Sort of like I don't know. But I was thinking, like, what if something that was like a genre that wasn't a movie influenced a movie genre?
I think I understand.
Like, I mean, another way of saying it, like, what if there's like movies in the style of like outlaw country music? there's not really.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that would be like I don't know. What would be in
Is
that
there?
one? Yeah, Hell or High Water kind of is. It's kind of like a modern Western. I would argue elements of True Grit, the Coen Brothers version, would be that.
Okay.
I mean, fucking Chris Christopherson was in a bunch of movies, so any of those Westerns probably. Yeah. Westerns kind of fell out of favor. I wonder if there'll be like a Western resurgence.
I'm about to ask a terrible question. Is Chris Christopherson considered outlaw?
Probably not.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That didn't line up for the little I understand. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. I think we barely talked about this movie.
It's not the first time we've completely skirted around talking about
a boring movie.
I didn't think it was boring. I really enjoyed it.
No, it's fine.
I was delighted to watch it a second time.
I ate some ice cream and watched it. It was super fun. If I was still
it's an ice cream movie.
If I was still smoking pot, it would have been a hilarious pot movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I feel like the degree to which I enjoyed Abigail sort of informed how I enjoyed this movie too. I sort of feel like this, even though I'm advocating for horror to to do better, this kind of like middle brow horror that doesn't do anything exceptional, but is at least not insulting, and it is quite competently made. It's written just well enough. It has just enough talent behind and in front of the camera. I just like that shit.
Yeah. Well, last thing before we go, you were talking about our predictions. What do you think is the thing that we got the most wrong? And what do you think is the thing that we got the most right, that we like kind of speculated on the show?
On this show across the last 9 years or whatever it's been. I'm not sure, because when I say predictions, I'm thinking about like I just re-listened to two of the ones that happened just after COVID. I can't believe I'm admitting to listening to my own podcast, but I feel like because we haven't been doing episodes recently, it helps me to like listen to an old episode before we record to remember sort of like what it is we even do here.
Yeah.
But you had a bunch of predictions about COVID that turned out to be right, and I had a bunch of predictions about COVID that turned out to be wrong, and they had nothing to do with horror.
Nice.
But yeah, you just kind of had your wet finger in the wind and knew what was up. And
man, like I wish I was more active as a stock trader, because like I was totally right about Palantir. Like you can go back and probably listen to some episode of me talk about Palantir at $40 and how good of a buy it was and why evil always wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in this movie though.
No. Well, I would say what we've learned is something I know about myself is I don't really like nihilism at all.
What do you mean?
I like defeating evil, but at a cost. That's what I like.
The Price of Freedom?
Well, I mean, for example, the end of True Detective, season 1, they win barely, and it sort of doesn't matter. Like, that's actually the most uplifting ending of a nihilistic anything you could ever have. Like, this whole line about, like, looks to me like the light's winning. Like, it's right. It's ultimately hopeful.
And this is incredibly Catholic of you. Like, you believe in a sacrifice.
Yeah, dog.
It's great. All right.
Yeah. Later, nerds.
Thanks, everybody.